Hi, I'm James, I'm from AVA of Norway, and I'm introducing to you our car cleaning system. This car cleaning system contains 4 individual chemicals that will allow you to clean and protect your car in around about 30 to 35 minutes to a really great standard. The first stage is the wheel cleaner. This wheel cleaner sprays onto cold wheels in a gel-like formula. You can tell it's working because it will pick out the iron filings on there and start to go a little bit red in colour. That is working. You then simply, after a few minutes, rinse off. Don't let it dry on the wheel, rinse it off. If you're still left with some dirt on the wheel, you can reapply and you may have to agitate with a brush. But once you've done that first real deep clean and you've got them up to standard, you'll use a minimal amount of this product. So the first thing I like to start with is the wheels. It's the dirtiest part of the car usually. And it's very important that before we start, the wheels are actually cold. We don't want them hot so that the chemical dries on immediately you put the chemical on. As you apply this, it'll go on like a gel and it'll stick there and start to work with the wheel. You can tell it's starting to work when it goes red. It will bleed out all the iron and dirt trapped on the wheels itself. Okay, so we've now applied the wheel cleaner and you can see that it's gone a red colour. It's really bled off all the dirt and grime and iron filings on that wheel. When you rinse this off, you may find you don't get rid of all of it. You can either repeat the process again or you can use a brush, and for doing the tyre, you can give it a little bit of a scrape with something like this. But we're going to rinse off now. Just a quick note to all the AVA users out there, I'm putting the nozzle directly into the gun here because I want to get nice and close and I want to get right into the back of the wheel. So now we've got a nice clean wheel. Don't worry if you haven't got all of it off though, because we're going to apply some more layers of chemicals. So there is time later on to do something with this if you're not totally happy. But that is a very good wheel. The citrus pre-wash is exactly what it says. It is a pre-wash. You put this on through the foam cannon, mix it 1 to 9, 10%, like all the chemicals that you see here other than the wheel cleaner, and apply from the bottom up. Don't let it dry. This is to get rid of 90% of the dirt. If you're unhappy with the amount that you have got off, or your car is heavily soiled, you can mix it at a stronger dilution. It's entirely up to you. It's pH neutral. It is safe to use on protective vehicles. But if you stick to 1 to 9 or 10%, you're going to get the maximum amount of washes for your money. Now we're going to start with the bodywork. The first chemical is the citrus pre-wash in the #1 bottle if you're using the premium foam cannon system. And notice I've put it straight into the gun so I can get close and into the wheel arches. It's really important that we do the wheel arches as well. We're going to start from the bottom up, so that the bottom of the car, which is the dirtiest part, has the maximum amount of dwell time for the chemical. We're going to make this chemical work for you. When we apply the citrus pre-wash, it's not gone on really foamy. Don't worry, it's meant to be like that. We want this kind of watery chemically mix so it runs off, breaks down the dirt as it goes and helps to clean the car. The chemical is doing the work now. Don't worry, it doesn't look like it's covered in foam. That bit's coming, but this is really, really important. This is getting 90% of the dirt off the car. It's important when the citrus pre-wash is on that it doesn't dry on the surface of the car, but we do want to let it dwell there for about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, so now the chemical's been on 3 to 4 minutes, it's done its work, we can start to rinse off. Notice, I'm going to rinse off from the bottom up. That gives this residue time to fall down and work again on the surface. Okay, it's really important that we do it like that. And remember, it's not important that we get absolutely 100% of this chemical off the surface right now, because we're going to layer some foam on after this anyway. The foam cleaner. This again, you mix 1 to 9 or 10% and you apply through the foam cannon. You can mix it a bit stronger if you want, but if you've done the citrus pre-wash first, You shouldn't need to. This is going to act as a lubricant, so you can start to agitate the surface safely without causing damage to the vehicle. Again, pH neutral, so it won't take off any coatings you've got on there already, and it won't do any damage to the paintwork. Okay, so now we've used the citrus pre-wash, we've got rid of 90% of the dirt on the vehicle, but there's still that 10% left and we've got to get rid of it. We need to do it in the most efficient way possible, and we don't want to put any scratches in the vehicle itself. So we're using the AVA foam cleaner, part of the AVA 4 Protect car system. And again, we apply this from the bottom up so that the chemical sticks onto the car and dwells. This is going to go on a lot thicker, and we're also going to use this as a lubricant in between the surface when we start to agitate. Don't let it dry. AVA foam cleaner chemical now is sitting on here, and it's starting to break down that last 10% of the dirt. We're going to need to give it a bit of help, and we can start after about 3 to 4 minutes to agitate the surface. We want to do that gently, so use a clean sponge, a mitt, but what I'm going to show you is the AVA mop flow head working. I'm not going to use a sponge or a mitt. I am going to use the AVA mop flow head. I prefer it rather than using a bucket. I don't like to get my hands in there and get them cold. This is an accessory. I'm going to extend the lance so I can get onto the roof, and we're going to start from the top down. The water's going to come through this head and push the dirt away from the surface, and the foam is going to act as a lubricant on there, so we're not putting any swirls in with the remaining tiny bit of dirt left on the car. So we've used the mop flow head just to agitate, and you'll notice it's cleaned off a lot of the foam cleaner. That's not a problem, but we must give it a rinse off with the pressure washer afterwards as well, just to get that last little bit off. This is the seal and shine. This is my favourite part of the process. You've got a clean car now, and when you apply this to the vehicle, you're going to get some stunning results. Mix it 1 to 9. Don't do it any stronger than that. You don't need to put a lot of this on there. As soon as you put it on the vehicle, rinse it straight off. You're going to put a ceramic coating on the vehicle that's going to last around about 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the amount of mileage that you're doing. And it's going to stop dirt forming on there. But more importantly, when you dry that off, it's going to look like you've spent hours polishing the car. It really is a stunning product, this, and I highly recommend using it after the previous 3 products. So we put this process together because there's so many products out in the marketplace at the moment, and it's really difficult to know where to start. You might have some products that you use that you really like, but this is a process that will get you a clean car quickly, safely, economically, and give you a cracking finish at the end. We want to put this onto the vehicle, and it doesn't matter if we go top down, bottom up, that's not important. We want to get it onto the vehicle, then as soon as it goes on, we want to pressure washer it off. And look at the difference afterwards. For the best effects, use a drying towel or a chamois, whatever you use to dry the car off. But you will see this paintwork start to pop very quickly. Okay, so you'll notice this goes on like a foam, then it starts to turn into these white beads. That's exactly what you want to happen. Try avoiding the windscreen. It doesn't matter if you get a bit on there, but just give it a wipe off with a bit of glass cleaner and make sure you do the blades afterwards. Otherwise you get a little bit of smearing on the front windscreen. You could do the wheels as well. It's going to add protection onto there. You're going to get between 2 to 6 weeks, which is going to help to keep the car cleaner, and it's going to keep it shining longer. Okay, so now we've rinsed it off, we've just shown you the amazing beading effect that you get from this fantastic seal and shine product from AVA. It's absolutely fantastic, and this has added a ceramic coating to your vehicle now, which is going to last around about 2 to 6 weeks depending on the mileage, but it's going to help to keep it shine. It's absolutely fantastic, and we're going to make it look even better now because we're going to dry it off. You don't have to if you don't want to. I suggest that you do. Use a drying towel or a squeegee or a chamois, whatever you normally use. Just make sure it's clean, and then look at the effects we're going to get afterwards. It's going to look like this car has been polished for hours.